Welcome to Drone Pilot MBA.
Hello there.
Today, we're diving deep into the really exciting world of drone entrepreneurship. And this is specifically for you. Maybe you're already flying commercially, or maybe you're just thinking about turning that drone passion into, well, a business.
Yeah, and to really get a handle on the current state of things and what the future might hold, we're leaning on insights from Tony Marino. He's a business expansion strategist over at Aerial Northwest, and he's also the producer right here at Drone Pilot MBA. So he knows this space.
He really does. So our mission today really is to cut through some of the noise, give you a clear look at where the drone industry is right now, and why this moment could be pretty pivotal if you're thinking about launching your own thing. We'll look at what's driving the growth, the actual advantages of starting up, and we'll even zero in on a big one: drones in real estate.
Makes sense.
So let's just jump right in. What's the state of play in the drone market?
Well, it's pretty remarkable. Honestly, the speed of growth is not just growing, it's accelerating. Think about this. Projections show the commercial drone market could hit, nearly $94 billion by 2033.
Wow, 94 billion. That's huge.
It is, especially when you consider that in 2024, it was valued around, say, 30 billion. So that growth rate, that CAGR of over 13%, that tells you there's serious investment happening, serious demand building across loads of different industries.
Okay, 13% year over year, compounded. That definitely paints a picture.
Right. And for potential entrepreneurs, like maybe some folks listening, that means opportunity, a fertile ground.
So what's really behind that climb? Is it just one thing, or is it a mix?
So it's definitely a mix. At the core, you've got the tech itself, these small remote-controlled aircraft getting better and, frankly, cheaper all the time.
Correct.
But the real driver, it's how they're being used. They're getting integrated into so many different sectors.
Okay, yeah, let's break that down. Like aerial photos and videos, that seems obvious.
Exactly. That's a big one. Drones have they've revolutionized visuals, real estate, filmmaking, news media. That unique bird's eye view gives such a competitive edge, stuff you just couldn't get before or couldn't afford.
Yeah, it totally changes how you see a property or tell a story. What else is big?
Inspection and monitoring, huge area. Think about inspecting power lines, pipelines, bridges, buildings. Drones make it way more cost-effective, efficient, and frankly, safer.
Safer, yeah, that's a massive point.
Well,
sending a drone up instead of a person into a risky spot makes total sense.
You get better data sometimes too, quicker.
What about all the buzz around deliveries? Is that actually moving the needle much yet?
Well, maybe not your everyday pizza delivery everywhere just yet, but the potential is a huge driver. Faster, more efficient transport, especially for tricky logistical spots.
Yeah.
That's fueling a lot of the investment and the market growth projections. It's definitely part of the mix.
Okay, so maybe more potential than current widespread use, but still significant. And agriculture, I know that's been talked about.
Oh, yeah. Precision agriculture is really taking off thanks to drones. They're doing crop monitoring, field surveys, even getting into targeted spraying or seeding in some cases.
Interesting.
It's all about using resources smarter. Better data leads to better decisions, better yields.
Giving farmers better tools. That's great. And surveying and mapping, that's more traditional, right?
It is. But drones are shaking it up there, too. They're often cheaper and faster than old school methods. Plus, they can get data from difficult terrain, places that are hard or dangerous to access otherwise. So, safety and speed again.
It really does sound like they're finding useful roles almost everywhere.
Pretty much. And we haven't even touched on things like law enforcement, disaster management, scientific research, construction. The list keeps growing. The adaptability is kind of the key thing. And for anyone listening, think about starting a business, this wide adoption, that spells opportunity. Lots of potential customers.
Okay, so the market's definitely hot. It's growing fast. But let's talk to the person listening right now. Maybe they love flying their drone. Why actually start a business? What are the real upsides?
That's the key question, isn't it? Well, one really attractive thing is the relatively low barrier to entry. Tony Marino talks about this in his work, Take Flight. Start a drone photography business under $1,000. With some careful planning, strategic buys, you can often get started without needing a massive loan.
Under $1,000. Really, that's surprisingly low.
Well, it takes planning. Like I said, smart choices. But yeah, compared to many traditional businesses, the initial outlay can be much more manageable. We see lots of small operations start lean.
That's definitely encouraging. Big investments can scare people off. What else?
The potential for a really good return on investment, your ROI. Because demand is growing across so many areas, If you find your niche, deliver quality work, and, market yourself well, you can often recoup that initial investment pretty quickly, build something profitable.
Right. Good service in a growing market usually pays off. What about the day-to-day, the lifestyle?
Ah, yeah, flexibility and independence. That's a big draw for many. Running your own drone business often means more control over your schedule, where you work, what kind of projects you even take on. You can sort of shape it around your interests.
Building a business around what you're actually passionate about sounds ideal.
It really can be. And that passion itself, that's another advantage. If you genuinely love flying and the technology, that enthusiasm often translates into better work, more dedication. Clients pick up on that.
I bet they do. It drives excellence. And lastly, you mentioned the industry is always changing. How is that a benefit?
Because that constant innovation, it means there are always new opportunities. New drone capabilities, new software, new applications popping up. It allows you to expand your services, stay ahead of the curve, offer the latest and greatest. It keeps things interesting.
So it's not like you learn one thing and you're set. You got to keep learning, but that opens doors.
Okay, great points. We've got a growing market, real advantages to starting up. Let's talk about actually doing it. That jump from hobbyist to pro.
Right. That's a path many people take or think about taking. They start out just loving the flying, the cool shots they can get. The trick is channeling that into something, commercially viable, a real business.
So what are the steps? What does that journey look like, practically speaking?
First up, skill development. Seriously honing your craft. Flying for fun is one thing, but commercial work demands a higher level of precision, safety, and knowing the principles of good aerial photography or videography. You need to be able to deliver professional quality consistently.
Master the flying, master the visuals. Got it. What's next?
Regulations. Compliance. This is huge. You absolutely have to understand and follow all the rules. Local, state, federal, whatever applies. In the U.S., getting your FAA Part 107 remote pilot certificate. That's step one for any commercial work. No exceptions. Don't mess with the FAA. Check. Okay. Skilled, certified, now what?
Now you need a business plan. A real one. You got to map out what services exactly are you offering? Who are your ideal customers? How would you price things? What's your marketing strategy? Need to think it through, budget properly, treat it like a serious venture.
Right, the nuts and bolts of running any business, really. What about standing out from the crowd?
That's where finding your niche comes in. It can be super helpful. Instead of trying to do everything, maybe specialize. Real estate photos, agricultural surveys, maybe power line inspections, something specific. It helps you focus your marketing and potentially face less direct competition.
Become the go-to person for that specific thing. Makes sense. How do you let people know you exist and you're good?
Branding and marketing, super important. You need a professional image, a strong brand, and then you need to actively market yourself to find those clients. A good website, a portfolio, showcasing your best work. That's key.
Show, don't just tell. Build that professional presence. And given how fast things change, what's the final piece?
Continuous learning. You just have to stay plugged in. Technology changes, rules change, new market trends emerge. You've got to keep learning, keep adapting your skills, your services. It's essential for staying relevant, staying competitive long term.
It definitely sounds like it takes commitment, ongoing effort, but maybe more accessible than people think, especially with those lower entry barriers. Okay, let's zoom in now on one of those niches you mentioned. Real estate. It seems like drones are everywhere in property ads now. Why the big uptake there?
Yeah, real estate was definitely one of the earliest and biggest adopters. Drones have gone from being kind of a cool novelty to, almost a standard tool for marketing properties effectively.
So what exactly do they bring to the table for selling houses or land?
Well, first off, those first impressions. Wow factor. A great aerial shot is often the perfect main picture for an online listing. It just grabs your attention immediately when you're scrolling through hundreds of homes.
Yeah, totally. Stands out in a sea of standard photos. What else?
They show the bigger picture, literally. You can capture the whole property, the land around it, the layout, even the neighborhood context. Things you just can't show properly from the ground. Gives buyers a much better feel for the place.
A better sense of the whole package. I've also heard that homes with drone shots sell faster. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, there are quite a few reports and studies suggesting that properties marketed with aerial photos tend to sell significantly faster. That's a pretty compelling stat for any agent.
Definitely. Faster sales means happier clients, happier agents. Are they just used for photos or other marketing stuff too?
Video is huge too. Drone video adds such a dynamic feel. Think about property tours, starting with a smooth flyover or showcasing nearby amenities. It's much more engaging than just static pictures. Creates a more immersive feel online.
Yeah, I can imagine that draws people in more. And what about the agent using them? Does it reflect on them?
It often does. Agents using drones are generally seen as more modern, more tech-savvy, more professional even. It can be a real differentiator, helps them stand out to potential clients, especially, clients who appreciate technology.
So it helps sell the house and sell the agent in a way, and cost-wise. Is it cheaper than, say, hiring a helicopter?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
For most situations, using a drone is way more cost-effective than traditional aerial photography methods like planes or helicopters. That affordability makes it accessible for a much wider range of properties, not just luxury estates.
Okay, sounds like a no-brainer for real estate. But you hinted earlier some agents might still be hesitant. Why would that be?
Sometimes it's just a lack of knowledge, honestly. Maybe they're unsure about the regulations, the FAA rules, or maybe they haven't fully grasped the real marketing punch these visuals deliver.
Yeah.
That's why groups like the National Association of Realtors, NAR, are putting out resources trying to educate agents on how to use drones responsibly and effectively.
So there's an education gap.
Exactly. And that gap, that's actually a big opportunity for skilled, knowledgeable drone pilots like perhaps some folks listening. You can be the expert they need, offer the service, and help educate them too.
Bridge that gap. Provide the solution. That's a smart business strategy. Okay, so looking ahead then, for someone starting out or growing their drone business, what are the main challenges they need to keep an eye on?
Well, staying on top of those regulations is a constant. It's not a one-and-done thing. Rules evolve, airspace restrictions change. You have to stay current to operate legally and safely. It requires ongoing attention.
Right, compliance isn't optional. What else?
Privacy concerns are definitely something to be mindful of. As more drones are flying, people are more aware, sometimes more concerned. So operating responsibly, respecting privacy, being transparent, that's crucial for maintaining public trust and avoiding problems.
Good point. Ethical operation is key. What about the tech itself?
Yeah, the technology keeps marching on, which is both good and, well, challenging. Advancements in automation, AI for data analysis, better batteries, longer flight times. It's exciting, but it means you need to keep learning, maybe invest in new gear periodically to stay competitive. It's a fast-moving field.
So you need to budget for staying current, technologically speaking. Any other big picture challenges?
Just keeping aware of where the industry is heading overall, what new applications are emerging. As new uses get discovered, maybe in fields we haven't even thought much about yet, there will be opportunities for new specialized services. But you need to be watching, anticipating those trends.
It definitely sounds like it's a dynamic field. Requires being proactive, staying informed, ready to adapt.
Exactly. It's not a set it and forget it kind of business.
Yeah.
But, for people willing to put in that effort, stay agile. The potential rewards in this growing industry are really significant.
Absolutely. I mean, the rise of drone entrepreneurship, it really is a massive opportunity for people listening to build something successful. You've got the tech becoming more accessible. You've got demand growing across all these different sectors. It really does create a fertile ground for turning skills and passion into, well, profit.
For sure. And like we talked about, if you focus, find that niche, stay totally on top of the rules, commit to always learning and adapting, you can navigate this space confidently. It's exciting.
It really is. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening to mull over. With this market changing so fast, what unique angle, what specialized service could you create that will really make your business stand out in the years ahead?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Keep thinking, keep innovating.
Thank you for joining us, and keep on droning.